Hello there. This is where the fun begins.
Hey there guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we are going to be discussing a little bit about Daisy Ridley and her return to Star Wars in this upcoming Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy Star Wars movie. Of course, we're going to go ahead and hop right on into it. In this video we are going to be taking a read from StarWarsNewsNet.com. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. Daisy Ridley has finally opened about her upcoming Star Wars return. It says that the story is really cool here overall. Now, while she missed the chance to promote her latest feature, The Martian King's Daughter, in early October because of the SAG-AFTRA strike, Daisy Ridley was able to do some interviews to advertise the film's digital release, which is now available. And as it usually happens, she's getting asked about Star Wars and her return to a new movie and to a galaxy far, far away, being officially announced and confirmed at Star Wars Celebration a little bit earlier this year that there is going to be a REY SKYWALKER movie that is directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy and writer Stephen Knight, set about 15 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker. Now, recently speaking to Collider.com, Daisy Ridley revealed that the top secret nature of the announcement to her Star Wars return, as it had been previously mentioned before, Daisy Ridley signed on to come back just a few weeks ahead of Star Wars Celebration officially, and in fact that there were only a handful of people in London who actually knew that she was going to come out on stage, as she says that in quote, "I will tell you, Steve, when I saw you in Park City at the Sundance Film Festival in January, I had not been approached. I was asked by some, but not by you, but I was asked something when I was there, and strangely, people were asking me stuff, and I was like, no, I'm not doing another one for Star Wars. Then it all happened after I came back. It was such a nice reception. I was shitting myself before I went on stage, because no one knew I was going to do that. No one knew I was going to Celebration, bar like Kathleen Kennedy, and there were a couple of people. I was so nervous. Oh my goodness. It was just such a wonderful reception." Ending that quote right there. She's obviously very excited to come back to a galaxy far, far away, and I think it's safe to say to a point that we're all excited to see that true reboot, not reboot necessarily, but that true redemption of her character of REY SKYWALKER in the Star Wars franchise, giving that character another chance and to properly bring that full circle overall, especially coming from a writer like Stephen Knight. I think that there is a lot that can happen. I think that there is going to be a lot that happens in the single movie. It's something that has a big potential to set up for the future of the franchise and giving us maybe a whole nother Star Wars trilogy, but even then I think that that's something to discuss a little bit later down the road. So to add more context to that there overall, the film that Stephen Knight is currently scripting is a redo from the previous draft that Damon Lindelof and Justin Brett Gibson had worked on for the REY SKYWALKER movie. The duo had turned in their work around February of earlier this year and were quickly shown the door and shoved out, as Lucasfilm had changed plans. They wanted to have a new take on the story, one that would feature a younger Rey potentially. Rumors regarding that a previous draft had painted the character in her 80s actually, training two future Jedi, much older. That's when Stephen Knight came in, and likely Lucasfilm gave Daisy Ridley a call. Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, as a director, was on board before and remained as a director despite the creative overhaul with the writers. And despite that, the actress had previously been in communications with Lucasfilm, specifically Kathleen Kennedy, going as far as posting photos from the offices of where she went for a lunch visit. So it might have not necessarily been a surprise for Daisy Ridley, but I think it was more of just a surprise of like, oh, this is actually happening, like, oh my goodness, and it just kind of unfolding from there, and also very fast, I think, all at the same time. But the studios was likely testing the waters, months prior to even of the fact of, would she want to return, would any of the other sequel trilogy actors want to return as well to the Star Wars franchise, and that's something I think that's been discussed plenty of times, especially here on the channel in the recent with other Star Wars sequel trilogy actors like Adam Driver or John Boyega, Oscar Isaac, all of by which at the end of the day, they have their qualms with what the sequel trilogy had to offer, especially John Boyega being on the fence of things, but at the end of the day, they all said, well, yay, if there's a good story, if it's a good director type of scenario, a good director, a good writer, and there's a good story here going on, then yeah, they're game to want to return to it. But it just has to be a good story, and I think that's a very pivotal, remember that, it has to be a good story. And as I had mentioned, I think that this movie offers a lot of that potential to bring us a good movie, a redemption, as I had mentioned, essentially for Daisy Ridley's REY SKYWALKER, after that kind of, not a letdown necessarily from what the sequel trilogy was. I think that, in my own thoughts and opinions, and lastly, please let me know what you guys are all thinking in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what you guys are all thinking, of course. The sequel trilogy was strong up until The Rise of Skywalker. Skywalker is where it unfortunately did fall flat. I am one of those few fans, I guess it seems out there, that actually enjoys the first two movies, The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. It's just for me, The Rise of Skywalker is where it did fall flat, unfortunately. So giving us a new movie is something I'm very much looking forward to, and it's something that has I'm very open-minded with it, very optimistic with going into that as a fan here, of course. Now, not much is known about the actual story of the film, though, other than it will take place 15 years after the events of The Rise of Skywalker, and it will see Rey Skywalker rebuilding the Jedi Order. The actress has been told some details about it, actually, into the plot details, and while she didn't share any of that, she did say that she is very excited about it, and that it took her by surprise at first. She says that, in quotes, "I'm very excited. The story is really cool, and I'm waiting to read a script because, obviously, I don't have any other updates. It's not what I expected, but I'm very excited." I mean, that quote right there, just saying a little bit, of course, like reading a new Star Wars script, of course, you're going to be excited about that. She does mention in there that she's waiting for other updates because they're going over revisions for the draft of this movie, and actually reporting on this now, at the time of recording and publishing this video here on YouTube, is that the actual first draft of this movie is supposed to be turned in like today, actually, right before Thanksgiving, and from there they want to go into the new year of January 2024 and come out with a second newer draft of the movie, and probably from there where we can get some more updates and get the ball really rolling. That's where I think plot details and leaks can happen from there, so there's a lot of, in a way, potential there to hear more about this movie, but I'm kind of on the fence if I will really want to go into any of those plot details or leaks, as far as that goes. Now, as far as of her return means for the future of the franchise just as a whole, Daisy really stressed that she's only seen the story breakdown for the film, and for the one film, but that doesn't mean that Lucasfilm isn't planning further down the line. She says that, in quotes, "I know the storyline for this one film. That's not to say that that's all of it, and that's all that it is, but that's what I was told about, and I imagine it will be the next film, I think. I mean, again, I don't know, but post-strikes and everything, how quickly everything will start up again, but yes, so far, I know there's a story of this one film and think people will be very excited." She ends that quote right there. She herself feels that there could be more of a story, more of a, like, unfolding an actual trilogy here, a whole nother trilogy, like a sequel trilogy, I think, even at that, after this movie, and just kind of like for what it has to set up from there, which I really think is like its whole own thing. That's something so much bigger than we kind of anticipated or expected to actually even hear about this movie, and like for what they're planning in the future, like outside of this movie, and like a whole nother Star Wars trilogy surrounding this, actually. Now, guys, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions and theories in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.